Very good morning to everybody. I say morning, 2:30 in the morning, and I thought for this edition of Lunchtime Electronics, I don't know whether you're going to see this kit in the next video or this video first, see which way round I put them, but I thought rather than just build a kit, I thought we'd go through what you need to build these kits and the basic tools that you need for electronics, whether it be these little kits or whether it be something else. So the first thing you might need would be a soldering iron. Now in this case this is a horrendously expensive supplied by RS Components, so it would be incredibly expensive. It's a soldering iron. You can pick them up from eBay, you can pick them up from Maplins, you can pick them up from all sorts of places. You can get mains powered ones, you can even get little USB powered ones, which in fact these actually work quite nicely. I can't remember which channel I saw these on originally. Can't remember whether it was Big Clive or Julian Eilert, but either one, they've actually used these quite successfully. I've not actually taken this one out of the packet yet. So that would be the first sort of tool you would need to do any sort of electronics. The next thing you might need would be, I don't know, a screwdriver. Yeah, there we go. Wow, okay, maybe I'm being silly. Let's put that away. And let's grab these. These are Poundland Specials, and they're covered in wire wool at the moment from where I was doing something else on the workbench. And as I say, Poundland Specials, they actually have all of the bits inside them, and for basic electronics they're actually very good. For £1, you know, if you break it, is it really going to hurt? You know, I've bought several because I'm too lazy to keep taking the tops off to change the bits. So you need some screwdrivers. Now, a word of warning with these Poundland screwdrivers, they're all metal. So you don't want to be poking in live circuits with them. For that you need insulated tools, and if you're just starting out electronics, I wouldn't recommend poking your fingers into anything that is still switched on. Not at the very beginning. You know, that you need to have a reasonable understanding before you start poking inside live circuits. You can very easily kill yourself on some things. Whether you get these Poundland ones or whether you go out and spend money on, you know, insulated screwdrivers, you can pick up a set of screwdrivers nice and cheaply. You'll also need some form of wire cutter. So again, these are cheap and cheerful. These came from China, and I think they were £1.14. No, they're not the best quality. I know they're not the best, but when they wear out, you're quite happy to throw them away and buy another set. Or in fact, you can buy them in packs of 5. So that's the sort of level of thing for general electronics work, and I actually use these for pretty much everything from making up the little kits to repairs on other pieces of equipment, valve equipment with great big wires. Obviously you don't go stripping mains cable with these, they're just not man enough for the job. For that you can get larger ones. I believe Wilco's do a set of 3 for about £5. So, you know, wire cutters, little sort of component snips, nice and cheap. The next thing that I think would be essential is some form of meter. So there we go. That's a cheap and cheerful Chinese meter. Again, these are, I think this one came from AliExpress for about £3. You can spend an awful lot on multimeters. Again, if you're just beginning with electronics, there is no need to spend vast amounts of money. Obviously, once you start getting serious and you want to spend the money and you can afford to spend the money on it, then you go out and you buy, just dig it out from the corner, branded high quality Fluke, and in fact this was a second-hand one because I couldn't afford a new one. You buy high quality Fluke meters, which I think the current price on this particular one is about £150. But unlike this one is auto everything. You just say, right, I want to measure volts, and off you go, and you shove it in the holes and it measures them rather than having to select the range in advance. But then you don't learn anything, so sometimes expensive isn't good. So let's put that one away. So really, what else do you need? You've got your soldering iron, you've got your screwdrivers, you've got your wire cutters, you've got your meter. What else is essential? Well, this stuff, solder. You can get this, again, fairly cheaply. The one thing I would always say is don't get lead-free solder. It really is a very nasty thing to work with, for use of a polite term. It doesn't melt. The leaded one melts a lot easier than the lead-free, doesn't require as much heat, which means you don't quite need a huge powerful iron to melt it, and it can vary in sort of qualities. This, again, you can pick this up fairly cheaply. This is standard 60-40 lead tin. So it's 60% lead, 40% tin. You can get 60-38-2, which is lead, tin and silver, but you'll pay a little bit more for that. And again, you can get it in various thicknesses. This is 22 gauge, and you can also, if I unravel this one, you can get it in quite thick gauges, depending on what you're working on. Obviously, for basic electronic kits, the thinner stuff is a lot better. You're less likely to blob it everywhere, and it's just easier to work with. Obviously, this stuff I use on older valve equipment where the terminals are the size of Heathrow airports, and you have to melt quite a lot of lead into them. So solder is pretty much an essential. Anything from £5 to £30 for a roll of solder. I say a roll because it's actually cheaper to buy it in larger quantities than it is to buy the little small sort of tubes of solder that you can get, which look like a sort of like a pen with a bit sticking out the top. I always buy mine in 250 gram rolls, and that's the other thing about solder. It's sold by weight rather than by size, because like all wire, they don't measure it by length, they measure it by the weight of the wire and how much actual physical material is there. So if I just get one roll off here, this is a very old roll of solder which I've had for many years, that's I can't remember what I paid for that, but it certainly wasn't £5. But then I've had that at least 20 years. I know it's older than my children. And I still haven't got through that whole drum, because obviously this is now a hobby rather than a how I earn my living. So yeah, solder, that's what you need. Okay, so what else is the basic tools of electronics? Well, the only thing I can think of these days is a magnifying glass, because things are getting much smaller. Gone are the days when all resistors were this sort of size. Resistors now are, I'll get a pen, are now this size, and I can't read them without a magnifying glass, and I've got magnifying glasses on as well. So, these days a good magnifying glass will help. You can get all sorts of fancy ones. This one actually has a light in it as well, with a separate smaller higher magnification lens for really, really small stuff. But yeah, let's get the non-essentials out of the way. A magnifying glass, and again, pick this up from Poundland, pick this up from Amazon, wherever you buy your stuff. So if we look at this little pile of stuff here, what's it cost? 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we'll go with the screwdrivers. Call it another tenner for a few screwdrivers that are insulated. £1 for the cutters. So so you got 5, 8, 18, 19 plus 3. 18, 21. For the roller solder, call it a tenner for the intermediate sort of stuff. 30. Magnifying glass, £1, £2, £3, depending on where you go. You're not looking more than £40 to set yourself up to start in electronics, and that is as cheap as you go. If you don't go with the insulated screwdrivers, then you've saved yourself a tenner. If you go for a small roller solder, you've saved yourself a £5 or a tenner, but you'll use more up. So 5, 8, 9, 12, 15 quid. You can set yourself up to start with these basic kits, and then you got the kits themselves. Well, this particular kit was about 50p. So there you go. Basic lunchtime electronics. What you need to make the kits. Should have started with that video really, as the first one in the series, rather than number 13 or 14 or 15 or 16, wherever I'm up to. But yeah, there you go. A nice straightforward look at basic electrical tools. You can add the nice things. If you really want, you can buy little pliers, and you can buy, super duper rolls of wire, and you can buy your insulated screwdrivers, and you can buy your scalpels, and you can buy, what else can you buy? You can buy, a torch. You can get little electronic screwdrivers like that. You can throw in opening tools, and and then you can buy flux, and then you can buy super glue, and then you can buy little batteries, and you can throw in a few resistors, and you can buy USB leads and cables and solder wick and desoldering tools, and you don't need it to start with these little kits. Just go back to the basics. Thanks very much for watching. Have fun, be safe. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. If you don't, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.